So one of the things that I hear all the time is that, James, I'd love to launch a podcast, but I just don't think I've got the time. Now, don't get me wrong. Podcasting can be very time consuming. Editing audio can be very time consuming. Creating artwork can be time consuming. Doing in-depth show notes can be time consuming. Transcribing your content can be time consuming. But if you have a certain way of laying out your content, if you've got certain pre-recorded pieces, if you can drag and drop certain elements of your audio and you've got a standard way to write your show notes as kind of like a templated format, it can actually be a lot quicker than you think it might be. So I'm actually going to do it in real time for you right now. I don't know how long this is going to take me, but I'm hoping in under sort of 10 minutes, I can launch this show because it's a relatively simple one for me to do. So let me just share my screen with you guys so you can see. I'm just going to take you on the journey with me. Okay, so you can now see my screen. So let's go for it. I am going to do, here we go. I'll just move this down out of the way. Okay, I'm going to go to, what do I need? I need to get my Audacity. So I use Audacity. I always encourage my clients to use Audacity as well because it is free and it is easy to use, and it means that nobody has excuses of I can't use the software, it's too expensive. Right, so I've just recorded an 8-minute show. It's a building the brand special. It's all about Amazon Music and why it's important for you to be on Amazon Music. So I'm going to take into, this is the MP3 file that I've just recorded. So I drag this into here, and this is the most basic, simple type of recording you're going to ever get. And this is the most basic editing that you're ever going to see in your flipping life as well. All the podcast purists might be like, oh my God, I can't believe that's how you do it. But there you go. So that's my audio file. So I just click at the end here. I go generate. No, I don't. I go to edit, compressor, add a compressor to it. Adds a bit of bass, adds a bit of treble, adds a bit of top, makes it sound a bit fuller, if that makes sense. So this is going to apply the compressor quickly. And again, I don't do, with these particular shows, I don't do any like editing. They're just conversational based. I know kind of roughly what I'm going to say. I don't worry about stumbles and ums and ers and that kind of stuff, which is why it's so quick to edit and record. So you see it's jumped up in sides. So what I'm going to do, just go to beginning, just go top and what I call top and tail it. So I'm going to get rid of that gap of silence there. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. There you go. So I know that that's there. I'm going to tail it off there. Bit of opera singing for everybody. I'm sure they'll all enjoy that. So I'm going to cut that off there. So effectively, that is my show file. Now, don't get me wrong. If you look at that, I could, make that a bit louder. I could normalize it. I could compress it a bit more. I could get rid of some gaps and all that sort of stuff. But in terms of this kind of content, and this is what I'm finding, actually, these behind the scenes specials that are just recorded as a one take, they're the most popular shows that I'm doing at the moment. So I don't mess about with them too much. So what I then do is I literally go to, and this is the importance of having stuff that's pre-recorded and pre-done. So I go to podcast, I go to building the brand. I can't show you all of how messy my desktop and my files are. So now I go to theme music. I've already pre-recorded a behind the scenes intro. And I've already got a building the brand outro. So I'll drag that in. There you go. So I've now got, this is my audio file that you can see here. Underneath that, that's my intro. And underneath that is my outro. So all I do is I literally just go, move this a little bit, move this top one. I'm going to move that bottom one, and I'm going to just line it up more properly. So I know that it ends there. So let's just double check how that sounds. Perfect. So as the intro finishes, the music kicks in. So that's all good. So what I can do now is I can make that smaller so I can see the file underneath. I have to move my face a second here. So I'm going to zoom out. So now this is my outro music. So I just take this to the end and go, and you can see that little yellow line pops up when you align it correctly. So I'm just going to zoom in there, just make sure that's all good. Play that and make sure it ends when I finish talking. So I don't like any gaps. I'm a bit of an audio geek like that. There you go. So there you go. So that is now episode. In fact, let me open my show notes as well. I'm doing the brand show notes. I think this is going to be episode 113. So let me scroll down to the bottom. Episode number, yes, this could be episode number 13. So 113, sorry. So I'm going to now quickly save this. I'm going to export this as an MP3. I'm going to put BTB 113. Now, this section here, it might potentially, they reckon that the comment section here could potentially have an effect on the keywords that you input to the content. So I'm going to fill all these in. So building the brand, Amazon Music. The power of, let's have that. That's the title. The power of, wow, can't type today, of Amazon Music for your content. This is only relevant for podcasts. I'm going to put that as the title. Building the brand, because content is probably more of a clickbaity word than podcast. Podcast number 113. Year it is 2020. Genre is a podcast. If I could type, that would be great. Comments. Now, this comment section is where they potentially take the keywords from. So I'm going to put in Amazon Music. I'm going to put in building the brand. James Burt. I always put my own name in and the name of the show, just in case. I'm going to put in entrepreneurship, because that's a category. I'm going to put in business. I'm going to put in UK business. Then that'll do. So those are going to be my keywords that I might potentially rank for. I'm going to click save. And that is now saving. So while that is going on, I'm going to go to here. So these are my show notes. And I mentioned a minute ago that I think there's real power to having certain stuff already pre-done. And again, there'll be sort of differing opinions on this, but from having launched 125 shows with 85% success rate, and people are launching very, very successful brands and businesses off the back of their podcast, I know that for my clients, anyway, for me, this stuff works. So rather than doing transcribed show notes and going into loads of depth, I just have a standard kind of templated format. So I always have the same beginning part, the same end part, and then I just tweak the middle. So for example, at the moment, I'll change this sort of beginning section here. I always leave this middle section because this is talking about the agency and I want to use it for potentially for the agency. I tell people what behind the scenes specials are. And then I've got this standard bottom bit. So these are all my links where people can connect to me. So literally all I have to do show notes is I click here. So I'm going to copy that whole thing. And I'm going to go episode 113. And then I'm going to go the power. Oh my God, I can't type the power of, it's because I know I'm against the clock. Amazon Music for your content. In today's show, James discusses why Amazon Music, oh my God, Amazon Music launching into the podcast space is a big deal for content creators, business owners, and brand builders. The platform means this new podcasting platform means that you can easily get your shows and audio onto the Alexa platform, which is a big deal. Which is, I've already used big deal, is important because 1 in 5 homes now has one of these devices. Right, so I'm just going to leave that there. So there's some keywords in there. So you've got Amazon Music, which is all about. So if anyone's searching for the term Amazon Music, maybe it would come up because it appears in the show notes. Podcast, obviously, is a keyword. Content creators, potentially a keyword. Business owners, brand builders, potentially keywords. Podcasting, another variant of the word podcast. Amazon, I've got in there. I've got Alexa. So that's all good. So if I copy this whole thing here, so this is now episode 113. I've got my file. If I go quickly to here, I hope this is useful. I hope this is going to be under 10 minutes. Come on. Google Chrome, hurry. So I'll go to my syndication software, which is Libsyn. I'm going to lose out here, aren't I, because of the internet. Log in. Come on, log in. Come on. Content. New episode. Come on. Add a new episode. Hurry. Well, this is really annoying, isn't it? I easily would have done this in under 10 minutes if it wasn't for this terrible internet. Documents. There you go. That's my latest file, I go to details. I can literally copy and paste the whole thing in there. So then I go to power of Amazon Music, view content. I can take that out of there because they don't like having the show numbers, by the way, in the titles of podcasts anymore, for whatever reason. So if I go to this, copy this. So now I'm going to make sure that it's all set up nicely as well for Apple Podcasts. So that if you use Libsyn now, there's this Apple Podcast optimization option, which gives you just like a little snippet. Again, sometimes it takes the whole feed, sometimes it takes a shorter feed, but if it's there, I use it just in case it helps with the rank. Episode 113, who's the author of it? This is the person who owns the copyright, building the brand. File is uploaded correctly. I don't want to change the artwork. It can be the standard artwork. I don't want to schedule it. I want it to publish and go live now. Bosh, done. Schedule for release, just double check that it's actually previously been published. It's gone out yet, so that has gone live. So in the next couple of minutes, I should start to see that content is now on all of the platforms. Hope that is useful for you guys. And again, like skip through the bits where I'm waiting for the internet to load or whatever. I hope you have, because you've already watched the video by this point by the time I'm summarizing it. But that just shows you how you can create podcast content relatively quickly. Obviously, I've got years and years worth of experience in like editing stuff, so I could do the top and tailing really, really quickly. Obviously, there are some shows that require more audio production than just a top and tail and a bit of compression. You know, some of the shows that I work on, we need to take out the ums and the ers and the stumbles and the gaps. Sometimes if you're doing a Zoom recording, for example, there might be like a 1 second lag between the person recording and the person being interviewed. You have to take out all of those gaps. So don't get me wrong, not all shows are that easy to produce and to edit, but for basic standard solo round kind of content, you can do it relatively quickly. Hopefully that is useful for you guys. Cheers for watching as always. Any questions, hit me up in the comments.